Hey everyone. When Howard Carter uncovered the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, it was hailed as the greatest archaeological discovery of the century. But soon after, whispers of a deadly curse began to spread. Strange deaths, sudden illnesses, and eerie coincidences surrounded those connected to the tomb, leading many to believe that disturbing the boy king's resting place had awakened an ancient vengeance. Today, let's know about Howard Carter and the discovery of the cursed tomb of Tutankhamun. Let's start the video, but before that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. On 26 November 1922, Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon stood before a sealed doorway leading into darkness. The markings confirmed it was the tomb of the boy king Tutankhamun, though signs of ancient break-ins raised doubt. Was the pharaoh still inside? With trembling hands, Carter cut a small hole, lit a candle, and peered into the unknown. As Carter's eyes adjusted to the dim light, the shapes within the chamber slowly emerged, strange animals, statues, and treasures with gold shimmering everywhere. For what felt like an eternity, he stood speechless, overwhelmed by the sight of such wonders. The next day, with the doorway cleared and lights installed, Carter and Carnarvon entered an antechamber crammed with treasures for the afterlife. Yet, Carter's gaze fixed on the northern wall, sealed, guarded by two statues of Tutankhamun and once breached by robbers. Behind it lay the burial chamber. Knowing the antechamber had to be cleared before dismantling the wall, Carter and Carnarvon grew impatient. That night, they slipped through the robber's hole and discovered the burial chamber dominated by a vast golden shrine with its seals unbroken. Overjoyed, they swore secrecy and resealed the opening. Tutankhamun, who died at only 20, is the only New Kingdom pharaoh found undisturbed in his own sarcophagus. Buried hastily in a modest courtier's tomb, his resting place was robbed twice in antiquity, with Carter estimating that more than half of his jewelry was stolen. Despite its modest size, Tutankhamun's tomb yielded the richest collection of royal artifacts ever found, offering rare insight into New Kingdom life, its arts, crafts, clothing, food, and beliefs. His body remains under study by the Egyptian Antiquities Services, though the tomb held almost no non-ritual writings. Tutankhamun's personal history remains shrouded in mystery, and the identity of his parents is still uncertain. The burial chamber was officially opened on 17 February 1923, witnessed by Egyptologists and government officials. Public fascination with the Valley of the Kings grew rapidly. Luxor was soon overrun with visitors, while newspaper reporters almost daily on the discovery. To recoup his expenses, Carnarvon signed an exclusive deal with the Times magazine, angering rival reporters who denied access, filled their pages with sensational rumors instead of facts. Howard Carter, born on 9 May 1874 in Norfolk, was the youngest of 7 children of artist Samuel Carter. Trained as an illustrator, he entered Egyptology almost by chance. Carter honed his skills at sites like Beni Hassan, Amarna, and Hatshepsut's temple at Deir el-Bahari. In 1899, he joined the Egyptian Antiquities Service, serving productively for several years before a dispute with French tourists forced his resignation in 1905. He then turned to work as an artist and antiquities dealer. Living precariously, Carter's fortunes changed when he partnered with Lord Carnarvon, a wealthy amateur Egyptologist. In 1917, they set out to find Tutankhamun's tomb, determined to search the Valley of the Kings to its bedrock if needed. By 1922, Carnarvon was losing faith but agreed to one final season. On 1st November, digging began 3 days later, the tomb's entrance was uncovered. Carter's great discovery marked the end of his excavating career. He spent the next decade recording and preserving the tomb's treasures, but failing health prevented him from completing their full publication. He died in London on 2nd of March 1939. In February 1923, the team paused work for a short break. While in Aswan, Carnarvon was bitten on the cheek by a mosquito. Back in Luxor, he cut the wound while shaving. Infection set in, followed by pneumonia, and his already fragile health, damaged by a past accident, gave way. On 5th April 1923, Lord Carnarvon died. Carnarvon's death gave the world a dramatic Tutankhamun story, and news spread quickly. Debate flared as a public still scarred by war and epidemic began to question whether the dead should be disturbed at all. For some, Carnarvon's death was more than coincidence. It was proof that the excavation had unleashed danger. Popular fiction had long imagined vengeful mummies striking down intruders, from Louisa May Alcott's The Mummy's Curse to countless Victorian tales. Even before the tomb was open, novelist Mary Corelli had warned that disturbing a pharaoh's resting place could carry grave risks. In 1923, Britain was a nation searching for solace. The trauma of war and the decline of old religious certainties fueled a surge of interest in the occult, seances, Ouija boards, and the promise of contacting the dead. Theosophy, drawing partly on mystical Egyptian forces, was especially fashionable. False stories soon spread. Among them, a claim that a plaque inscribed with the warning, "Death comes on swift wings to he who disturbs the tomb of the pharaoh," had been found and hidden. In truth, no such plaque existed. Carter dismissed the curse as nonsense, but his firm denials only fueled suspicion that he and the authorities were concealing the truth. Speculation ran wild over how Tutankhamun could strike from the grave. Some imagined the tomb had been booby-trapped with poison or deadly spores. Indeed, a black fungus was found inside. Others suggested more mundane causes: infection from bad droppings, or even a mosquito carrying embalming fluids. Practical minds noted that the tomb could house neither bats nor mosquitoes, yet such logic did little to stop the speculation. Many, including Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, fascinated by Egypt and the occult, favored the idea of a supernatural curse carried out by unseen elementals. In 1934, Egyptologist Herbert Winlock countered the curse theory with statistics. Of the 26 people present at the tomb's opening, only 6 had died within a decade. In fact, aside from Carnarvon, most lived long lives. Carter himself died at 64, and Lady Evelyn, present at the first secret entry, lived until 1980. Even Professor Douglas Derry, who autopsied and dismembered Tutankhamun's body, lived to 87. On 6th April 1923, the newspapers reported that Cairo was plunged into darkness at the very moment of Carnarvon's death. More chilling was the tale of his fox terrier Susie, who back in England supposedly howled and in later versions even died at that same instant. The story, though impossible to verify, only deepened the legend of the curse. The story of Tutankhamun's tomb remains one of wonder and unease. Though science dismisses the curse as myth, whispers of strange deaths and eerie coincidences continue to linger. Perhaps the truth lies not in magic, but in humanity's fear of disturbing the silence of the dead. Whatever the case, the legend of the Boy King's curse endures, an eternal shadow cast across the Valley of the Kings. Well, that's it for today. I hope you're liking Nerdies Discoveries. If this story sparked your curiosity, subscribe and keep exploring. May wisdom guide your path always. See you in the next. Bye.